FD St. Louis was definitely an eventful one. I was there, definitely enjoyed watching all the battles, everything like that. It's just always cool to be there. But today we are going to see the journey of Odi Bakchis that took it all the way to the podium, first place, today on the breakdown. All right, so here we have the first battle. We got Odi and Mike Power. Now, super pumped for Mike Power because he's an East Coast buddy of mine. It's cool to see him out here in the big leagues, shredding with the likes of Odi. Odi is a very well-established driver, and it's just cool to see buddies of mine just being out here doing it, you know what I mean? Now, we're going to watch the first battle here. Odi is going to be in the lead, Mike in the chase.
Odi Bakchis will be Mike Power in chase.
Here they take off, right through the chicane. Odi goes for his initiation. See him nice into outer zone 1. Here comes the transition. Transition looks really good. Mike gives him a little bit of space. Compromises just a little bit. Odi deep into outer zone 3. Really, that's what we're trying to look for. Textbook going into outer zone 4. Mike doing a good job again. They're trying to reel him in.
Think that like raspy, that like a wall.
All right, so here we have the review or the replay. We have the initiation happen well before it needs to, so that's good. Goes into outer zone 2. Guys, pay attention. Mike is doing a really good job getting into outer zone 1. Excuse me, outer zone 1. Odi getting into outer zone 1. Mike getting into outer zone 2. You can outer zone 1 as well. You can see he's doing a really good job keeping the proximity going. This was an excellent job by both drivers. Here comes the transition. Transition looks really good. Odi does a good job of going into outer zone 2. Mike doing a good job of giving them some space and then trying to reel him in here. I think he might do a little bit of compromise. Gets back on throttle. You can see this is where the compromise starts to happen. So he starts to leave outer zone 2 early to cut the line and try to get closer to Odi. Now, by the time we're getting into outer zone 3, you can see Odi's doing a fantastic job getting nice and deep into outer zone 3. Power still doing his best to try to just massage him way to close the proximity. Here comes the transition. Transition comes through. Still a little bit of a gap there. You see Odi doing a really good job going into outer zone 4, deep into outer zone 4. Power is also doing a good job getting into outer zone 4 as well too. I'm sure he's going to light off here to try to close the proximity. Has to compromise a little bit coming. Oh, no, he compromises a little bit coming out of outer zone 4. Cuts the line a little bit, and we come to an end. You can see here a nice dynamic view of the drone here. Here comes the transition. Mike Power goes in, compromises a little bit there. You can see there he compromised a little bit. Follows Odi into outer zone 3. Full throttle all the way in. Here comes the transition. Odi does a good job filling it out. You can see just Power's just getting right up in there. Compromises a little bit, but you know, sometimes that's what you got to do when you're going against someone as good as Odi. All right, now we have the second half of the battle. Power's going against Odi. If you're Powers at the situation, your goal is like, I need to make sure I put down a crazy good lead line. Try to out drive him. That's all you can do and hope that Odi's going to make some errors, and then the judges have to do it with him.
Exactly, because Mike Power did a lot of errors.
Powers did make quite a few errors, compromising. Nothing that justified a 0 or anything, at least not in my book or anything. So there's still hope. There's still plenty of room. There's still plenty of time to play ball. Power comes in. Home comes to the initiation. Ooh. Oh, gets right to the edge. That was sick. Powers transitions, gets into outer zone 2. Oh, hits the wall just a little bit. Deep into outer zone 3. Odi's just way close. Okay, compromises a little bit in the lead. Bro.
Through outside zone 4, but what rage?
Let's look at this initiation again. That was right on the edge. All right, let's see here. Powers does a really good job initiating before the last initiation cone. Into outer zone 1, deep. Right on the edge, at least from that other point of view. It looked like it was right on the edge. Goes into outer zone, ends outer zone 1. Here comes a transition. Nice into outer zone 2. I think you can see here he's deep into outer zone 2, and you can already tell just by this point right here, as soon as he lights off, that line's probably going to get him into that wall like we saw in there. Odi does a really good job of doing the transition. I can't really see much from what he's going to go here. Let's speed up a little bit. Listen to him. All right, you can see here Powers, like I said, a little bit deep, probably going to nick that wall. Odi, from this point of view, all right, maybe not the most angle, but he's doing what he needs to do to stay in the game, and he's definitely in the zone, at least from what I'm seeing here. Yep, definitely in the zone. Here comes the hit. Odi's still there with him. See, Powers does a really good job. Powers is a good job, but this is a hell of a lead round. This is definitely awesome. I'm all about hitting the wall. That was sick. Here comes the transition. Odi doing a good job staying in there, calculating everything. Powers goes into outer zone 4. Comes out a little bit early, and Odi just doing his best to stay there, and proximity doing a good job, and comes to an end. So, all in all, I think Powers did a really good job, did a really good lead. Here's going to have the side-by-side. But when it comes to the proximity, especially in the chase, not compromising terribly too much or anything like that, I'm a little bit more over on Odi's side on this one. But Powers did a hell of a lead run. Compromised where he needed to. But it just goes to show, you know, this dude has just recently, you know, come in, still one of the up-and-comers and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's a rookie by any means. But, you know, he's definitely getting better and better every time he's out there. So I think this was a great learning experience for Powers. I'm sure he's reviewed this footage a million times as well, too. But definitely some room for improvement there. And I'm sure he's just going to get better and better. I'm sure the next time around, you know, it's probably going to be even harder for Odi. You know, I mean, he'll definitely learn. See, advance. Is it unanimous? It is unanimous here. It goes to Odi. All right, so Odi moves on. And let's head over to the next battle for Odi here in the top 16, which is against Matt Field. All right. Matt Field in the boiler exhaust Corvette C6. Really doing a good job there. Really like that car. Really like the way the car looks and everything like that.
So you put that, we get the Vector as it's a. All
right. See this go through. I think this is going to definitely be a good matchup. These guys have definitely been teammates not too long ago, the frenemies, so they definitely have a good understanding for one another. I think this is just a sight lap. Just both of them take a sight lap real quick. There was some rain and stuff like that, so we're just gonna. There's that puddle in outer 4. We were telling a lot of the drivers like to be careful with that. So they did the sight lap real quick. They're gonna turn it around, and now we are going to see the battle here. The first half, Odi versus Field. Odi in the lead. Odi does a really good job, gets into outer zone. Field doing a good job of getting right in there as well, too. Odi takes off, lights off. Field doing a really good job. Following him. Oh, closes the gap. Compromises just a little bit in the line. See Odi going into outer zone 4. Oh, slides a little bit. The front end kind of washes in on Field a little bit there. Let's watch it again. There's a lot going on there.
A lot of top there on that actual line as opposed to the side lap. Let's take a look at the series here.
All right, so you see they both initiate well before, so that's all good. Here comes outer zone 1. He's in it, not terribly much in the beginning. All right, so I would say one of his rear tires was definitely in outer zone 1, but you can see like this other one right here, barely on the line maybe. Then you got Field doing a good job proximity, taking the appropriate line stepped up just so he can get into the pocket. Here comes the transition. Odi doing a really good job filling out outer zone 2. Then you got Field doing it. Watch the allergies just take over now, dude. We had a special guest. All right, so where were we again? All right, so then we have Odi going into outer zone 2. Field doing a really good job getting into outer zone 2 as well. Proximity, this is decent. You get a little bit closer, match the angle just a tiny bit more. Doing good there. A little wavering in the rear end, but still doing a good job. Odi gets into outer zone 3. This tire back here does. I don't know about this one's a little out. Riding the line there. A little bit closer on proximity from Field. I think they're just kind of feeling each other out at this point. And of course, we want people to be riding doors, but I mean, I can understand they're just trying to calculate what one another are trying to do. Also, the rain and the dampness and it being a little slippery out there, I'm sure is a factor. Here comes the transition. Odi doing a good job getting into outer zone 4 in the lead. I thought that's going to be something that gets talked about. So, I don't know if you guys saw that as well, too. It seemed like he got on throttle. And then, so he looks like he got on throttle a little bit late. It seems like that affected Field a little bit. Don't know if that's going to play a role just yet. Let's see what they say. We can see more of a dramatic replay here. Odi doing a good job getting into outer zone 1. Here comes his transition. You got Field doing a good job getting into the pocket, accelerating there. Gives him a little bit of space, gets back on throttle. Odi doing a really good job and getting into outer zone 3. You can see from this angle, Damn, from this angle, it looks like Odi was way more into outer zone 3. Goes into the transition. Here comes the transition. Looks like Odi's floating a little bit and then lights off. So right here, I can see why Field is trying to tuck in, but at the same time, then comes the light off. Still gets kind of close. It didn't mess up Field, so I don't think it's going to be an issue, but it's something that people look for. Had there been contact there, you know, I think that would have been a point of where, like, well, what happened in this area? But I'm sure they probably made a notation of Odi maybe getting on throttle a little bit late. Let's see how the second half of this battle is going to go. All right, we got Field in the lead, Odi in the chase.
They got within the start. Going through radials.
Field doing a good job getting into outer zone 1. Here comes the transition. Odi dives in, gets on throttle, keeps the proximity pretty tight there. Looks really good there. Good proximity. Matt doing a good job getting into outer zone 3. Gets out of 3, goes into outer zone 4. Really good. It's really good. Really good. Odi did a pretty bang up job in the chase. So there you can see, I'm sure somebody's wondering, like, what's going on there. So the rule is no matter what, the lead driver has right of way. So you have to give however much space the lead driver needs to do his initiation. Obviously, it can't be a million switchbacks. Field is known for doing a heavy transition before a heavy flick going into his initiation. He doesn't always have to do that, you know what I mean? But Odi has to give him space. That's why you're going to see Odi kind of go track left and give space to Odi to make the initiation. Because if the lead driver, for any reason during his initiation, has contact with the chase driver, it's going to be on the chase driver's fault for not giving the lead driver sufficient space to do his initiation. Initiation happens. Little weird initiation for Field, to be honest, but that could be because of the dampness, or it's still kind of slick out there. So I think that's more what that is. Odi sees that Matt Fields is initiating here, picks up a little speed, gets into the pocket. Really good job. Field does a really good job getting into outer zone 1. Odi doing a good job keeping the proximity there. Transition happens. Matt does a really good job getting into outer zone 2. Odi does a really good job as well too. Keeps the proximity. Compromises just a little bit coming out of outside zone 2. Does a good job of proximity. Compromises a tiny bit and then gets into the pocket again. Field deep into outer zone 2-ish. You know, could have been a little bit more. Oh, so let's double check it, dude, because you guys will fact check me. So he's in outer zone 2. All right, maybe not the deepest. Comes out of outer zone 2 a little bit early. I'm happy I double check. Comes out to a little bit early, right on the corner. Odi does a really good job getting into the pocket. See that little mini surge right there, dog? You see that? See it?
He is doing a great job at
Does that little surge, goes in. Field gets into outer zone 3. Maybe not as deep as I'd want it to. He does get both tires in the rear end. Odi compromises just a little bit, I guess, for proximity. A little left foot brake there, I'm assuming, just so you can angle up. Here comes the transition. Odi does a good job. I don't know how this one's going to go. Obviously I know how it goes. What I mean by I don't know, more dramatic. What I mean by I don't know how this is going to go is I don't know where all the judges are going to end when it comes to this. I'm still on Odi. I'm trying to figure out, like, would someone think otherwise? So let's see here. Boys, fixing his stuff up, dude. Oh, here's the side-by-side. All right, so we have Odi does a good job. Here comes the initiation pretty early. Matt doing the same thing. Field tucks in there a little bit early, mainly because Odi doesn't do a crazy initiation. Field does his initiation. Odi does a good job of lunging forward, then tucks back in. Just like you can see right here, tucks back in, so we can see that. All right, so here's outer zone 1. Outer zone 2, the transitions by both drivers. A little compromise. Both end. Yeah. I think where I'm at is the proximity and the small calculations that Odi made in the chase that I think were superior. At least for me. That's why I'm with Odi. Field did an amazing job. He compromised where he needed to too. I think the compromises were a little bit more on his part than Odi. That's what I'm not taking anything away from Field. Love his car. Good driver, good dude. Let's see what these guys say. All right, so Lantain goes one more time. So I think maybe Lantain just wanted a more definitive answer. He's like, listen, there was compromise in a little bit with part. I think there's enough to go one more time. I can totally see him doing that because he wants to see something definitive. So I totally respect that. Advanced by Odi, so Nishida, same page. Oh, one more
Again, one more time, they have to go at it again. So again,
to go at it again. I was with Odi, but it looks like Yul and Lantain both wanted to see more definitive answer. So, word to the one more time.
there goes side by butt. You know the one time.
Now, no slutty lips or anything like that, just like Jared said. We're having the one more time. And just goes to show you, again, I've said it in other videos before, that's why there's 3 judges in drifting competition, and each one are going to have a different perspective. And there you can see that it wasn't unanimous for the one more time, but 2 out of the 3. Now we're going to go on here. All right, Odi and Field one more time. Odi in the lead. See how this goes. Odi through the chicane. Here comes the initiation. Odi does a good job getting into outer zone 1. Here comes the transition. Field trying to get right in. Looks like he angles up a little bit later. Got Field deep. Odi deep into outer zone 3. Here comes the transition. Field diving. Good job. I like that. A little bit more throttle. Closes the gap. Odi does a good job in the lead. That was really good. All right, let's look at the replay here. Bird's eye view. Odi does a good job. Field does a good job of initiating, getting into, so Odi is in, all right, so Odi's into outer zone 1. Field getting in there, but not into outer zone 1. Still choosing proximity over anything else. It's getting pretty close. I like to see him I like to see his car back just a tiny bit. If his car was back a tiny bit, that would put his rear tires in outer zone 1, which in my eyes, I view that as a superior line for chasing, or a better line than what he's choosing now. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that goes into this. You got outer zone 1 completes. Here comes the transition. Odi goes into outer zone 2. Field, I think maybe makes a little miscalculation here, which puts him on an inside line, which turns into a little bit of a bobble. Let's see if we can back that one up. It looks like he makes a little miscalculation. Transitioning a little bit too early. I think he has to correct a little bit. Yeah, takes a different line. Odi's deep into outer zone 2. Matt starting to come out, compromise a little bit, angles up again, still compromised, didn't really stay into outer zone 2, so I'm sure the judges saw that and make a note of that. Does that, not only does he do that, but also he would do that to try to close the gap, but then the gap increases again. Odi goes deep into outer zone 3. Comes the transition. Field goes back onto throttle again. Yeah, looks like in this you can see that Odi definitely keeping the momentum, laying off where he needs to. You can see Field is trying to make good decisions, taking the compromises where he needs to. I think what happened here is that transition going into outer zone 2 really put him in a rough spot, and then he had a light off, forced him out of outer zone 2, and created a pretty significant error that they're going to take into consideration when it comes into this battle.
Just far as.
All right, so switch it up. We have Field in the lead, Odi in the chase.
Here we go, Field out front, and that boy.
Field initiates right on the line of outside 1, at least from what I'm seeing right now. Odi does a good job, dives right into that pocket again. Field doing a good job in the lead. Deep into outer zone 3, really like that from Field. Here comes the transition on Field, takes a nice outside line. You can see Odi doing a good job getting into the pocket stand there. Just from watching this, I can already see, at least for me, that Odi had a superior chase. Field did an amazing job in the lead, which allowed Odi to do a good chase, but that was vice versa as well too. Odi did a really good lead. You can see Odi does this transition. Really good job on the transition. I wish we had another bird's eye view of that. We'll see if they give it to us. But you can just see just from this, Odi is doing a really good job of mimicking and just really getting into those pockets right there. Stays right where he needs to be. Keeps him into the zone as well too. Just a really good job here. Here's a bird's eye view. Transitions in. A little bit of a compromise. All right, so from from this point of view, there is a compromise on Odi. He does do that transition. There's a tiny compromise here, but he keeps that proximity. So if you look at the compromise that Field did compared to the compromise that Odi's making here, the purpose of him cutting that line of compromise is to now have that proximity to have this type of chase, right? Field tried to do that, wasn't able to achieve that, amplifies the error even more, and that's what's going to stand out to the judges, at least in my opinion.
Can you say that Odi Bakchis did it better? At least
There you go. So you're saying, do you think Odi did it better? I think Odi did do it better when it came to compromising, getting right where he needed to be again, because he's in the game right here, man. He's in the game. All right, you can see Field doing a really good job getting to outer zone 3. Field, good job. This was a really good lead run. It's right into outer zone 4. Odi just, he's there, man. He's there. Falls back a little bit, decides to get into the zone over cutting the line. I'm with Odi on this one.
That shoot thing.
And Odi, and Odi. Unanimous. Odi Bakchis moves forward. Really good job. Field did an amazing job as well, too. Can't take anything away from Field. It was awesome. But obviously, it just goes to show you at that level, it comes down to these small little errors. And just goes to show you right there, they usually try to show you like 3 perspectives of what's going on in these battles. And if you look at it from that last battle, that one battle with Field, you look at it and it looked like Odi did everything he needed to do. But then when you look at it from the bird's eye view, you can see Odi did do a compromise. So now it didn't mean he lost or anything, and the compromise was far less than Field's, but just goes to show you what perspectives and different points of views will give you when it comes to this. Odi, we are in the top 8, goes on, gets the bye run here.
Crazy. So, a buyout is basically
Nobody to compete against. Yeah, they're explaining here that Gucci had problems with his car, wasn't able to do it. He tapped out. Then you have Turek, same thing, wasn't able to compete. Neither one of them were able to move forward to be able to battle here. So that means Odi doesn't have someone to battle against, so he gets the bye run. Just a glorified parade lap here, which is always good. A little bit more seat time. So we're going to move on here to Chris FORSBERG and Odi Bakchis. This should be a good one. There's a lot going on in this one, so let's unravel it. Let's get right into it.
is that now? That's that time. I don't know what time.
Let's go in here forward a bit. All right.
Go ahead there. And but the box.
Now, FORSBERG, an absolute ripper. Odi, an absolute ripper. Definitely going to be a good battle here. This is the final 4. The first run, Odi in the lead. Odi's on a rampage, man. He is definitely on a rampage.
But pitches, and I always say the game of inches in between.
All right, let's see the beginning of the first battle here. Odi's going to be in the lead. FORSBERG in the chase.
Oh, Lord, just thinking that's Gandhi or
Odi does a little flick, goes into outer zone 1. Oh!
See, I said we're even a straight up shot, but man, I should be stay quiet. Yeah.
See, now this is when judges and like now everybody has to look and see what happened here. So did FORSBERG overcook it? Did Odi drop a tire? Did that cause this? Was he over rowing already?
Side story about Odi Bakchis.
This is when the arguments happen, because then people don't know. Let's look at the replay. All right, so a little snap goes in. Odi goes deep into outer zone. Oh, wait a minute. So did the hit happen before? All right, so it looks like FORSBERG gets into the pocket, and then you got Odi. It looks like a little boop. It looks like a little boop, and then that pushes Odi out. So like from this perspective, that's what I'm saying. I'm watching it now, watching it from this angle, which is the bird's eye view, all right, which is the one they're going to look at. And right now, unless I get some other information, it looks like FORSBERG bumped Odi, and Odi went off track because of it. I'm just asking what it looks like tonight. See it here? Right. Boop. Oh, was that the rear? I think the rear hit.
Final line looked like there. Odi looked like he was just running general pace.
Yeah. It did look like Odi was just like you can see here. It looks like Odi just trying to get into formation. Looks like FORSBERG just overcooked it just a tad. But did so how heavily are they going to view the momentum lights? right? Because here they're green, and then right there for a split second they go red, and then after that,
You can see it goes to neutral.
For a second, only issues with web real briefly.
I don't know. See, now from this perspective, this is going to be a problem in the future, man. This is why arguing time. This is, you know what I mean? All right, let's see how this plays out. Because from one point of view, I'm like, yeah, it looked like FORSBERG hit him. Like, just overcalculated. But from this point of view, those red lights pop up for a second. The right, they went neutral and then just flashed red real quick. So was there a little break? You know what I mean? How do we see what they say? So, now, because there's a DSO zone here and there's a DSO zone down here, that's where you're allowed to have that slight DSO. I don't know if they're going to use that against them. I don't know if the flash was significant enough. You know what I mean? See what they say. Yep. There is no deceleration there now. So that little flash may have been a bad thing.
Oh, you know, there's a brake light stuff in the light there. We talked about that. I mean,
But
about Bentham, you're going from straight to sideways. About
so now we have Brian Sage saying that there's always a little bit of a change in momentum when the car goes from straight to sideways. So they're going to take that into effect. Replay comes in. The hit happens. Comes a little bit later. So I think the judges are going to be looking at where there was the momentum gain, where did the momentum fade away. You can see that FORSBERG does light up his brakes low. Did he overcook it? Is it shared fault?
the depth.
Let's see if we can get
FORSBERG.
move on to the second half of the battle here. Now I'm sure they're going to take that into consideration. They're going to put it on, or they're going to wait for a second, see how this battle all goes down, and then you got to look at it all. Got to look at it all and say, this is what happened at this battle. This is what happened here. How do we judge this? All right. All we have is the first side of the battle right now. So let's go see the rest of it. FORSBERG in the lead. Odi in the chase.
And here the FORSBERG will be outrun Odi Bakchis in the chase position. Yep. He wakes up.
All right, here we go. FORSBERG takes off. Odi in the chase. FORSBERG does the initiation, gets nice and deep into outer zone 1. A little bit of a late transition. I can see that they may dig him there. Odi, but not really great on the proximity. FORSBERG deep into outer zone 3. Here comes the transition. Odi really not a factor at the moment.
So, again, not exactly the West chase job, but that's exactly.
I need more information, man. So if I was just a fan, I wouldn't know what to think right now. I wouldn't know, and I don't know what to think right now at all. Odi does, sorry, I'm just here thinking to myself, but. So we have the initiation, both of them do a good job before the last initiation cone. Then we got FORSBERG gets into outer zone 1, does a good job. Odi, not too much proximity, not too much angle. Well, I don't know about the angle, but it's just not into outer zone 1. Now you can see here, FORSBERG looks like he's overshooting outer zone 1 a tiny bit. All right, so there was no decel before the transition in this case. No harm, no play. FORSBERG does a really good job getting into outer zone 2. Odi compromising, coming out of outer zone 2. Stace compromised, coming in and out of outer zone 3. FORSBERG doing a good job. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what they're going to say here. You know what I mean?
That's not a piece here. Odi stays with them. This would not be a
I don't know. I'm a little. So I think it's because I don't know who they deem fault at right now. I'm not really positive on that. So I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what they say here. I see, because in the one video, it looked like FORSBERG hit him. It looked like it was FORSBERG fault. From the other perspective, you see the lights come up, but then they precursed it by saying the lights did. There's always going to be a momentum change when you're going from straight to sideways. So I don't really know where they went with. Maybe they'll do explanation here. I don't know, but if I'm a fan, I wouldn't know. And I can understand if one of these guys was your favorite driver, how you could be a little bit pissed off. What the hell? You know what I mean? But let's see what the explanation is. Let's see what the judges say here. Lantain says Odi, so I think he's deeming FORSBERG at fault for that hit in the beginning. You got Nishida, probably thinking he's on the same boat. Fuel. So it's unanimous. All three judges give it to Odi. I'm thinking that they're probably going to go with outside zone 1 where that hit happened. They're probably putting that on FORSBERG's fault. Even though the lights did come up, they're in this scenario, they're putting the blame on Forsberg. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see if they
The driver's on the other side, so
well, I guess there isn't an explanation on that there. At least that's what I'm thinking. Is that I'm thinking that in that section right there, that's where that error ended up happening with that. So we go back here, so we can show. Well, I guess we don't have that battle there. Sorry, but yeah, I wasn't really sure about how that was going to go, but it looks right there that I'm going to go with they went with this decision based off of what happened in Outer Zone 1. And what it looks like to me from the bird's eye view is that FORSBERG overcooked it coming into Outer Zone 1, got into Odi. After that hit, Odi just went really wide, and he's to blame for that, and that's why he moved on. That's what I'm going to go with on that. Because it's unanimous, so that just kind of explains to me how they're going to do that. Now, there was a protest, and it's been accepted, and it was approved. So before the protest, that's what I'm going with for that explanation. I'm thinking that they said that's why.
wise.
Let's see what they say real quick. Here's the explanation on what the protest was. It was accepted. They're going to explain it here real quick. I'm going to turn up the volume for you guys to listen to.
A little bit about the process. All protests must be submitted prior to the result of the subsequent battle. And Chris Forsberg's team protested what was talked about a little bit in terms of the decel portion.
So you can see here, after that battle, after that result, Forsberg's team protested the decel. So I'm sure many people saw that and saw that for a split second, the red lights came on, which says there's a decel. But then we just also heard that potentially because there's a slight decel going from straight to sideways, that I don't know how they were going to look on it or look at that, but
Outside zone 1. Now, the way a protest works is it is completely out of the judge's hands. A protest comes into the stewards.
right, so it shows you right there. When a protest comes in, a lot of people think, oh, we're going to show a protest to the judge. In Formula Drift, the way they have it right now, you show up. There's going to be a driver steward, or the way they have it, you show up, there's a driver steward, you give it to the driver steward, and they review it all. That's how that goes. All right.
The stewards either accept it or don't accept it. If they accept it, they have to both agree on what the conclusion of the protest is. If they don't agree, the run stands. So now let's bring in Brian Egger, who was one of the stewards was on.
All right, so now one of the driving stewards is going to give an explanation on why they went with this.
Adriano, to tell us what happened.
As you can see in the run here, what they basically protested was Odi's lights coming on in a non-decel zone according to the decel map. And as you saw there, right between the 2 and 1 cone, the lights do come on which showed red. So clearly there was a decel that was there. What we did was then we looked at what was actually happening with Forsberg's car. As we saw, we're in which the fact of shared fault, because Forsberg was still accelerating pretty heavily prior to that happening. So basically,
all right, so here we have the decel map. You just had right there Brian Egger explaining that they saw on the replay that there was a decel. That's why they accepted the protest, and that's why they're going again. That's as simple as that. They reviewed it. They said, look, based off of the map that you gave us, we're not supposed to see any decel lights at all. So because it didn't happen here, right before outside zone 2, and here before outside zone 4, and it happened going into the end of the initiation cone 1 and then going into outer zone 1, because there was a slight decel there, something has to be done for that. So they decided to give shared fault on both drivers.
tricky part is going into the second.
The run gets washed, and let's see. So that's why they're doing the run again. Simple as that. They accepted the protest and based off of the premises of that, and here we're going into it again. So here is the rerun. We have Odi in the lead. Here comes the initiation. Here comes the flick. Odi goes into outside zone 1. Forsberg, good job getting into outer zone 1 as well too. Here comes the transition. Odi deep into outer zone 2. Forsberg definitely giving a lot of space, tons of space there. A little bit of a compromise coming in and out of outside zone 3. Good job getting into outer zone 4 by Odi. And the proximity and angle compromised by Forsberg. So I'm thinking, first and foremost, like Odi definitely must have turned it up or something for this one, because I'm sure that when he got told he had to do a rerun, he was probably like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? just like my boy was when he had a re-go against Dookie. So I think he just turned it up and just like put an exclamation point on it. I think that definitely puts it into perspective. Let's look at the replay there. Odi does the initiation, gets into outer zone 1, lights off. See the transition here. See Odi, nice going into outer zone 3. FORSBERG just not close enough. Just not close enough. So I think just based off of that, we're going to see where this is going to go. So see, but did you see that flash too? I mean, I didn't say nothing, but I did see a little bit of a flash there. Either way, Odi goes into outside zone 1. FORSBERG doing a good job staying in there. Here comes the transition. You can see transition both of them are in, but this is where the gap starts to be established by Odi. You can see FORSBERG's just not close enough. Lack of angle. Odi's just in the pocket over here, just lighting off. Gets into outer zone 3, really good. Here comes the transition. FORSBERG, you know, he tried to stay in there and try to make it a good fight, but I think just Odi just had more in the chamber, in my opinion. Let's see what the judges say.
Odi Bakchis, what did he do? Let's set it. Let's find out.
All right, so here goes into the second half of the battle here. Definitely just had more in the chamber there for sure.
Bakchis saw him into formation. Big
angle there. Ooh, a little compromise on FORSBERG a little bit there. Odi just has better proximity, man. Ooh, ooh. So it looks like FORSBERG just overrode by himself. But very interesting. You can see that Odi is, to me, it just seems like there's just a lot more sauce in that car. He's just driving a lot more aggressively and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Let's see what the judges say on this one. But Odi just looks really aggressive. You can also see that as well too. So that's definitely going to take into consideration as well too. You can see here, damn, they're red. It's red. Odi does a fantastic job, even though FORSBERG is on the brakes. I don't think he's doing it intentionally. You know, who knows what's going on inside of that car. But Odi's doing a really good job of letting off. Red again.
With what they about to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, I don't feel that that's going to play a.
I don't think it's going to play a huge factor. Hey, see the rotors line up there? Look at Odi. Look at that. Look again. That's wild. I just think Odi just has more in the chamber right now, man. Odi just has way more in the chamber. Let's see what the judges say, but again, I'm just curious. Again, I know what the judges ended up saying, but I'm just curious to say what. Is it unanimous? If it isn't, still a heavy compromise there by Odi going into outer zone 2, but compared to FORSBERG's, like, I don't think that's going to happen there. FORSBERG does an amazing job either way. He's an amazing driver. Definitely no Jeep in there since day number 1. I just think Odi just had a little bit more this time around. So let's see what all the judges say. I think it might be unanimous. Yep, unanimous. Definitely for sure. I'm going to go with, at the end of that battle, you can just see just the over row right here. 2 tires off and everything. And there's just too much. There's just too much there. Odi is on a mission. Is on a mission for sure. Now, we have Odi AASBO.
We should lock
The finale.
Brian's meeting. Let's not go one more time. Come on, boys. Let's get a winner. Sign, seal, delivered.
All right, here we go. Odi goes into outside zone 1. Does a really good job. Here comes the transition. AASBO does a really good job getting into the pocket there, at least from this perspective. You see Odi lighting him up, getting deep into outside zone 3. A fantastic job establishing a big gap going into outside zone 4. Odi is coming for it, bro.
Outside zone.
Odi is coming for it. Look, say they just said, I think Odi tuned it up a bit. I'm telling you, on that last one, when they had to go one more time with and do the whole rerun and everything with FORSBERG, he sauced it up. And he probably felt how it was, and he was like, you know what? We're going against AASBO. Keep it up. Maybe sauce it up just a little bit more.
That's just up. Maybe our cut is a 5 game clear.
Fantastic job. That was sick. Here comes...
Or does he really use that to his advantage to see?
Good job here. Here comes transition. Gets into outer zone 2. You can see Odi gets into outer zone 2. Excuse me. AASBO gets into outer zone 2 in the chase. But here comes the gap that's established by Odi. starts stretching them right here. I think this is the part where them saucing this thing up is definitely shown, because that was a pretty big gap that was established there by Odi. Does. Definitely does. Gaps. Here comes the transition. This is nuts. Odi's just killing it. See, it goes into outer zone 1. AASBO does a good job in the beginning there. He does a good job. Here comes the transition. AASBO still does a good job here, but right here is when Odi's like gets on throttle and he goes, peace.
Hold line. Pretty close on pucks.
Later, dude. Look at that. Look at that. 2 seconds later, dude's gone. It's gone.
Gaps off for a little bit, and then right in the
Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
So Calvin with the overall shirt AASBO.
Now we got AASBO in the lead. Odi in the chase.
And Reese Marin. Toyota GR Super, and also
The points lead.
AASBO into outer zone 1. Good job. Odi transition. Looks, from this point, just looks like Odi's doing a really good job with proximity. You can see that right here. This is deep into outer zone 2. Now, this is the point where Odi stretched AASBO. Let's see what AASBO can do in the lead. AASBO's trying. He's trying to stretch him a little bit, but a little bit. You can see a little bit of a compromise on Odi's part in the chase to get close, but I don't think that's enough.
big run.
Let's look at the replay here. Here's the initiation. Gets nice into outer zone 1. Odi's close, right close there. Let's look at the timing of the transition here. AASBO transitions. Odi transitions. Transitions nice into outer zone 2. I think there's going to be a little bit of a compromise for him to get close. Oh, he does not too much, just a tiny bit. But look at the proximity. The proximity is where it's at there. Stays on, let him go. There's a small gap, but nowhere near as big as the gap established from Odi when he was in the lead going against AASBO. We see there, AASBO does a good job of filling out outer zone 3. Comes out just a skosh too early. He does a good job, actually. Transitions over, gets into outer zone 4. This is where Odi compromises a little bit. I think there was just a miscalculation on the transition in the back. But corrects it, gets back on throttle, and completes the run there. I think AASBO did a really good job. Odi did a really good job too, but Odi, I think overall, definitely choked this in my opinion. So they're explaining that there isn't a one more time. They are going to explain, and they're going to say who it is. Definitely an amazing round in St. Louis. Odi, well-earned battles. Like I said, he definitely turned it up a lot when he had to go against AASBO again. Definitely good. Definitely amazing battles. We're going to see here they're going to give the advance to Odi Bakchis. You can see here is just absolutely pumped, wins it, takes it all the way. His team did an amazing job. His team is taking care of also 3 cars, Odi's car, got Olsen's car. So it's just really cool to see, someone like this who's been climbing up through the ranks and doing everything he needs to do to really establish himself in this sport. So big ups to Odi. It's really awesome to see him here with the win, especially against someone like AASBO. Definitely pumped for that. You can see here, these are what the standings are looking like. Odi Bakchis is in 3rd place now. So this definitely boosted him up. Gets him just 10 points ahead of my driver, Chelsea, who I'm spotting for. So it's really cool to see that Odi definitely earned this one. It was also an amazing route for him. So we will see you guys over in Seattle for the next one. Make sure you guys just comment, subscribe, like, and follow. And if you have any suggestions or anything, make sure you guys let us know. And we will see you next time on The Breakdown.